Now, Dick, when did the heart attack happen? And can you just tell me that whole experience? What happened?
I was in the gym on April 8th, 2008, lifting weights and running, and I had a pain in my chest that at first I thought was some sort of acid reflux, but it grew and became stronger and essentially put me on my knees. And they had a physical therapy business there. This is like one of those big Bali type places, and I went in there and said I was in trouble. They called an ambulance, and the ambulance came and took me to the hospital. I'll bid farewell to every fear and wipe my weeping eyes. I feel like I'm on my journey. It was a blockage of the lateral descending artery and another artery as well, but the LAD was the most severely blocked. And they put a catheter in my femoral artery while I was awake, and said we're going to put a stent in, which the minute the stent was in place, all the pain went away. It was just like, I feel like I'm on my journey home. Well, 3 days later I was on the phone with a friend and I felt it coming, felt a heart attack again. And so I called an ambulance and they came, and that was an experience. My daughter rode with me to the hospital. They put another stent in. Sure you want to hear this?
Yes.
Thinking that the first one had failed mechanically, and while they were doing that, my heart stopped, and I just passed out. As far as I was concerned, I was just passing out and having this lovely little dream about the ocean and the beach, just a nice place to go. And I heard this sort of buzzing and shouting, and that turned out to be the defibrillator and surgeons trying to bring me back. They put the stent in, kept me in ICU an extra day, in the hospital an extra day. Everything seemed fine, sent me home. Brooke and I were reading, and I felt very uncomfortable 2 days later. So it was April 2nd, April 8th, and then April 11th. Brooke drove me to the hospital. So I had my third successive heart attack. While Brooke was driving me to the hospital, I called the hospital and said, you need to contact my cardiologist, I'm having a heart attack. And they put me on a gurney, they did a femoral artery scan again, and couldn't understand why the stents weren't working, but put me in surgery for a double bypass.
So what does the cardiologist say?
I asked him if I had a sell-by date. That was one of my first questions. So I could plan things. He said there was no way of knowing. I could be here for a long time or not. All the tests that I've had since then have been positive. There I shall bathe my weary soul in seas of heavenly rest, and not a wave of trouble roll across my peaceful breast.
What is it like to live with uncertainty about your mortality?
Sucks.
But you don't seem too nervous?
I don't see. Is that a question or a question?
It's a question.
I things become milestones. Like I went to the Ukraine to visit my daughter, and I was deathly afraid I wouldn't make it. I was afraid that I would die before I got there, putting her in great stress. But that went fine. And then I was concerned that as I was preparing for the show, that my demise might precede the show, and what would that mean, and how would that take place, and what kind of a mess would I be leaving in my wife's hands, and stuff like that.
I feel like I'm on my journey home. I feel like I'm on my journey home.
But it's a plumbing problem, and your pipes were replaced, right? So
they weren't replaced. They just put a little strap on each thing. The disease itself is I have coronary disease, and exactly what that means, I do not know. But it's a disease, and so that what you can say is that a way of looking at it is I'm in remission, but I don't know for what. So I just eat differently and back to living.
I just turned 57 and find these discussions frightening. But I admire my friend Dick.
Does your painting help cope with the uncertainty?
Actually, that's an interesting question. But painting has helped me cope with uncertainty since I was in my early 20s. It's just a different kind of uncertainty. When I'm painting, I don't think about anything. I can go anywhere. It's not an out-of-body experience. It's just a very pleasing experience. I'm sure it's true of anybody who makes any kind of art experiences, because you just free yourself to the satellite of whatever ideas you're having and sort of stand back from yourself and observe and make commentary.
Has the work since then been informed by this near-death experience? Or?
Not entire. I mean, no, because painting about death in general is an interesting topic. I mean, so much literature and religion and all that stuff is driven by it. But painting about my near-death experience becomes so personal as to become too much therapy and not enough art. And so, I don't know.
Death is a great topic if it's somebody else.
That could be it. I'm not interested in talking about my death. Talk about yours.
Well, I don't want to talk about mine. Yours has been fascinating, though. I mean, you're near death, not. Probably should edit that out. And we have a youngster here, Richard. Mm-hmm. How old are you, by the way?
69.
What do you guys think of this?
How'd you get to be 37?
Well, it's a real inspiration to the rest of us. I mean, you can get through anything if you're really intense enough about it. And I think that I can't imagine how his near-death experience hasn't intensified a life that's already been intense. I think when he paints, he must paint with even more intensity and more direction than before, because he must, in the back of his mind, think, this is my last painting. I've really got to apply myself to it.
I'm going to look at you right now.
Yeah.
You got at least another 20 years, so I don't want to see any kind of whining.
That's
okay?
what the nurse said when I was on the operating table.